The third one, Arundel Mills, isn't that scheduled for?
Yeah, that's next
next
year.
summer
one next year,
or,
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So maybe we'll all be saved by slots money.
But now our surrounding states have moved to table games, and so people say we have to change the Constitution of the state of Maryland to allow table games. It's going to be a whole race to the bottom.
And isn't Rosecroft in play on?
Rosecroft. Well, you know, that's what I was just going to bring. I think you're going to find people trying to argue. They're going to have to go back for another constitutional amendment, which is probably a silly way to do this in the first place. But you know, because people are going to say, well, look, if you're making money over here, why don't I go to Rosecroft? Well, you can't do Rosecroft because A, it's not listed as one of the sites, and B, it exceeds the maximum statewide numbers. The problem I had is Angelos is now being mentioned as a do, but you know, correct me if I'm wrong. My recollection of Major League Baseball rules is that you can't own a Major League Baseball team and a gambling enterprise at the same time.
Right.
So I don't know how this is going to end up, but my guess is if this thing really generates anywhere near the money that its advocates have suggested will come, the pressure will expand for more slots, and then you'll see, you know, pressure for a casino in Baltimore, a casino down at Inner Harbor, a casino somewhere over on the Eastern Shore.
Bowie, maybe, huh?
No.
But in fact, it's not generating the profits. I don't know if you've read
I have not.
the reports, but the first month that the Perryville or whatever it's called opened, it did fabulous.
Yeah.
And then the next month it dropped off.
Yeah.
And then the next month it dropped off even more. So, and I don't think that's unusual for a new
There's
slot
a
casino,
finite
but-
amount of dollars that are available for gambling, and they're either going to spend it on lottery tickets or on the lotto or slot machines or driving to Atlantic City or going to Las Vegas.
Or food for the children, or pharmaceuticals, right? Those are the choices of this.
Picky.
So the census was done last year, and the results should be preliminary in February. And this fall, the legislature will have a special session on congressional reapportionment. And the next year, they'll be dealing with legislative redistricting. And although the population of Prince George's County went up, it did not go up as much as the state average, which means it'll have less representation than it did before, unless our leaders can somehow
protect us
so it doesn't happen that way. So any thoughts on what to see in the future on this exciting topic?
Well, I don't know too much. I've looked at some of the preliminary numbers, and you're right. There has been some growth, but whether it's going to impact the total number or not significantly is debatable at this point. I think it's possible that Prince George's could lose a delegate or maybe lose a Senate seat. I think what's more likely to happen is 23, our district, is going to shift to the east and move over in Anne Arundel to either to protect the interest of local senators in Prince George's County or to have to pick up more people that way. That's the one thing I'm looking forward to. I will not be surprised at all to see that happen.
And the 5th Congressional District looks like it'll have to lose some of its territory because of the population.
Mm-hmm.
And so who knows what will happen there. Maybe they'll lose the Anne Arundel part. But we'll see.
Well, if you look at the way that district goes up and down like this,
Right.
you know, it calls out for some kind of a squaring off anyway.
Other states have gone to independent redistricting commissions. We haven't. I'm not sure there really is such a thing as an independent redistricting commission. But
I think if there's one thing you can really wager on is Maryland will not go to.
I agree.
The legislature will do whatever they want to do.
And so now the race is beginning for the Republican nomination for president.
Mm-hmm.
And you have in the mix former Governor Sarah Palin, former Governor Mike Huckabee, former Governor Mitt Romney, former Speaker Newt Gingrich, former Governor Tim Pawlenty, and a whole cast of characters looking. Any of them really stand out at this point?
Anybody but Palin.
Right. I think she's done herself in.
I don't know. Even though I looked at some numbers the other day, and Pawlenty seems to be polling at a lower number than some of those other people that you just met, or you mentioned. But you know, my head tells me that the Republicans will nominate somebody like, say, from Massachusetts,
Romney.
Romney. You know, my head tells me that's where they're going to go. My gut tells me to look at somebody like Pawlenty, who's coming out of Minnesota, has had 8 consecutive balanced budgets, cut a lot of, and he's worked fairly successfully with. He's a Republican, worked successfully with the Democratic legislature. So you know, the template is there that says maybe here's a guy that can work with other people, work and play well with other folks, and come up with something successful. I don't know it. But you know, if you look at his neighboring state in Iowa, he's not polling really well over there. So I think it's, you know, you might as well flip a coin at this point and try to figure out who it's going to be.
I'm sure the Obama high command is praying that the nominee is Sarah Palin, don't you think?
I would think so. Yeah. I think they'd like to go up against her.
My guess is she's not going to run. I mean, if I had to make a wager today, I don't see her running, but
She's just going to cash in as much as she can.
I'm sorry?
She's just going to cash in as much as she can.
Well, I mean,
Books,
in that
speaking
regard,
engagements.
she's not unlike a lot of other folks that write books that get $10 million advances and sell 60,000 copies or something. So I don't know. I'm probably the only one at the table that is not as offended by her presence as other people. I think she's bright. I think she's nice. I just don't see her as a candidate. I don't think it's going to happen. But we'll get a poster made for you that says President Palin stopped by here, right?
Right. I'm all for her. I hope she gets a
Well,
nomination.
remember, the Republicans thought it was going to be great if this junior senator from Illinois was the nominee. Remember that?
Right.
They all said, "Oh, give us this guy. What's his name? He's an Irish fellow, Obama." And you see how well that worked out for him.
Right.
Never wish for something because you may get it.
And then it's only 2011, so let's start talking about 2014 and the little bit of time we have left, right? Lieutenant Governor Anthony Brown, Attorney General Doug Gansler, Controller Peter Franchot, Howard County Executive Ken Ullman, former Baltimore County Executive Jim Smith. Who's going to make it to the starting line?
Lieutenant Governor starts off in first place. I like the guy up in Howard County. I think he's going to do really well. He's got a great track record up there, but who knows at this point?
Gansler has almost $3 million in the bank. Smith
And
has
a lot of hostility from people in the state legislature.
Right, very true. Smith has about $1 million in the bank. Ullman in a Howard County race, a very small county, raised $1 million last year. Anthony Brown has the O'Malley money machine, right?
Yeah, I mean, you have to start off assuming he's the one in front. But where it goes at this point, I don't know.
disagree. You think Anthony Brown's the one in front?
I think so at the point.
I don't. And part of that is, as much as I like Anthony, I think he's got the lieutenant governor jinx. No lieutenant governor has ever been elected governor. I think he stands in the shadow of O'Malley, and unless something happens in this second term to get him out and more visible and more present, I just don't think I don't think he's the front runner. I'm not saying he couldn't win it, but I don't think he's the front runner right now.
Well, a lot depends on whether the state's economy turns around, whether the jobs that are starting to edge up continues it. Because if any of that happens, then he and O'Malley are going to claim credit for it, and O'Malley will be shedding some of that credit over to the lieutenant governor, and he starts with that. Now, if that doesn't happen, the obvious alternative is there. I mean, look, you had 8 years, and what did you do? So you're right. There could be somebody out that we're not even thinking about.
That's right.
Sure.
That's right.
Might be time for a woman governor.
Yeah.
No name comes to mind.
No,
No, I'm searching. I'm searching.
Have you thought about it? You can raise the money.
Yeah.
No, I've not thought about it.
We'll start our own little exploratory campaign or committee this week.
Right.
We're with you. Big bucks here will help us. But,
No, I think the top two contenders are Franchot and Gansler.
But they kind of share the same base.
Same
so
They
base.
Montgomery
do.
County.
They do.
yeah.
But they have different, obviously different styles, different visibility. The comptroller's out all over this state, getting a very good reception, I might add. As is the Attorney General, and he is just an Energizer bunny. I mean, he is going. But like you said, Mr. Mayor, he has alienated some people.
Who, Gansler?
Yes.
Well, yeah, it's obvious that he's alienated a lot of leadership in the state legislature because of his preemptive acts in some legal areas that they believe is their prerogative to deal with. Whether that ultimately hurts him or not remains to be seen, I suppose. But the comptroller is an interesting guy because, you know, philosophically he's clearly left of center, but he does well with business groups and tech. I
Has
mean,
an
he's
independent streak.
Yeah, I think
that they like.
Yeah, so obviously the contest always boils down to Prince George's, Montgomery, and Baltimore, and in those carries being left of center is not necessarily a handicap, but you know, figuring the rest of the state, you have to see how that plays out.
And you know, Baltimore always likes to play in these elections, and I neglected to say that Stephanie Rollins Blake, assuming she's re-elected mayor this year, or elected in her own right.
That's right.
She could be a player.
That's
player
the
too.
woman that we couldn't think of.
Right.
She could be a player.
She's a very smart, savvy
Yes, she
person.
is.
What she got from her father was a very smart, savvy legislator, and
Very well respected across the state.
and in the first 10 days of her administration last year, she had a major snowstorm, and she was out there on the plows, and she's going to have some serious opposition this year in the September election. But assuming she survives that, she could be a player in this as well.
Yeah, well, like I say, all of us political junkies will have fun over the next couple of months, and this will fodder for our pizza evenings to discuss this for the next couple of years.
So we'll be back next month to see how things are going in Annapolis and nationally, and how many of our predictions came true, and how many more things will be developed. So thanks for joining us, and tune in next month for another edition of Talk of the Town, and we'll see if we can't get a remote report from our South Florida Bureau. Thanks a lot for joining us.
Okay.